Welcome to Just Daphne. Today I want to talk to my fathers. And ladies, please don't think you're off the hook because we're going to have an accountability session at the end. Dear fathers, why did you leave your daughters? This is not an attack. This is not condemnation. This is a call to responsibility. You were created to be the head and not the tail. Leadership was placed in you before money, before titles, and before ego. When you made the decision to conceive a child, you may not have known that that child would be a daughter, but God did. A daughter whose value is worth more than rubies. A daughter whose spirit, emotions, and future were entrusted to your presence. And yet, many of you just left. Not because you were judged, not because the world stopped you, but because the relationship with the woman became uncomfortable, inconvenient, or unfulfilling. And society gave you permission to walk away. Because we live in a society where a deadbeat dad goes unnoticed. But heaven never did. Paradise, whichever after living quarters you wish to rest. Let's talk about decisions we make without prayer. Sometimes when we don't pray before decisions, before sex, before children, before commitment, we end up making choices that feel good in a moment, but cost us generations. No one taught you how to be a father. I get it. No one modeled it for you. I get it. You may have been abandoned too. I get it. But pain explains behavior. It does not, absolutely not excuse it. When you walked away from the mother, you didn't just leave her. You left a daughter who didn't even know how to name what she lost. And wounds that are not identified cannot be healed. Let's talk about the first wound. Abandonment. Abandonment doesn't always look like absence. Sometimes it looks like being physically present, but emotionally unavailable. Inconsistent love, broken promises, silence where protection should have been. But when a father leaves completely, the wound cuts deeper. A daughter doesn't process abandonment logically. She personalizes it. She doesn't say, oh, my father was broken. She says, I wasn't enough for him to stay. And that belief becomes the lens through which she views every relationship. Now we will talk about lust and how we confuse attention for love. Lust is very misunderstood. Lust in fatherless daughters is not about sex. It's about being seen. When a father never affirmed her beauty, safety, or worth, any man who notices her feels powerful. Any compliment feels like love. Any touch feels like connection. She doesn't know the difference between a good man and a dangerous one because no one taught her. So she falls fast. She attaches quickly. She mistakes chemistry for compatibility. And here's the painful truth. She is not chasing men. She's chasing you. Now we will talk about identity confusion. Who Who am I without a father? A father teaches a daughter what she deserves, what respect looks like, and what protection feels like. Without that, she borrows identity from relationships. She becomes whoever a man wants her to be. She performs instead of lives. She doesn't ask, is this man good for me? She asks, will he stay? And when a woman doesn't know who she is, she will accept anything that feels like belonging. Now we will talk about attachment and devaluation. Fatherless daughters often struggle with unhealthy attachment. They love too deeply, too quickly. They ignore red flags to avoid abandonment. Stay where they are disrespected. Why do you think they're doing that? Because they were never shown what consistent love looked like. So they accept crumbs and call it a meal. They accept pain and call it loyalty. They overgive to earn what should have been freely given. And slowly, they devalue themselves. Not because they don't know better, but because leaving feels worse than suffering. Idolatry, and why men replace God in fatherless women. When a father is absent, a daughter looks for salvation elsewhere. Men become protectors, providers, healers, and identity givers. Relationships turn into altars. She worships men with her body, her emotions, and her peace, expecting them to heal wounds they did not create and cannot fix. And every time a man fails her, the wound deepens, just like a knife just going in and twisting. Jealousy and envy, the wound turns outward. This conversation is going to be uncomfortable because jealousy is thrown around, but that's a dangerous disease. Jealousy and envy are diseases of abandonment. When love felt scarce growing up, other women became competition. Sisterhood feels unsafe. Comparison replaces compassion. Fatherless women, they may envy women who are loved well, hate women who are chosen, and distrust women who seem secure. This is how pain divides women instead of uniting them. The independent woman mask. Oh, you independent woman. Dive deeper. Let's be clear, okay? Independence is not wrong, but independence born from abandonment is armor, not healing. Some women say, oh, I don't need a man. All I need is money. I got myself. But underneath all that is that little girl who needed her father. Money becomes protection. Independence is actually a wall. Invulnerability, oh, that feels dangerous. Self-sufficiency can't hide pain, and it cannot heal. The generational cycle. Let's talk about how the cycle repeats itself. A father leaves. A daughter grows wounded. She chooses broken men. She becomes a mother while still bleeding. Her children inherit unresolved pain. Cycles don't break on their own. They break with accountability, presence, and healing. This is my final plea to all my fathers out there. Fathers, please don't leave them baby girls. Not when it gets hard. Not when love feels inconvenient. Not when you feel unqualified. Stay for your sons. Stay for your daughters. Because your daughter is going to grow up and become a woman. And that woman is going to become a mother. And generations are shaped by whether you stayed or walked away. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. Now, ladies, this is where we're going to have that accountability talk that I was talking about earlier. As women, we have to be honest with ourselves. Our children should never become pawns because a relationship with their father didn't work out. And yes, I understand. Oh, trust me. Some of these men come with real challenges. Many grew up without fathers themselves and may lack the tools to be the men or parents we hope they would be. That truth is real. But our responsibilities as mothers is even more real. We have to learn to separate our feelings about a man as a partner from his role as a father. These are two different relationships. When we allow hurt, anger, or pride to control access to our children, it doesn't protect them. It places them in the middle of adult conflict that they didn't even create. I encourage you to move beyond the cultural mindset and turning co-parenting into a power struggle. Put your personal feelings to the side and talk about that one important question. What is best for the child? Because the reality is, if something ever happens to you, that child is going to be placed with their father. And many people say, oh, family will step in. But someone who has seen the system up close, I've watched relatives disappear when responsibility becomes real. And when that happens, children can end up in foster care and suddenly living with a father who feels like a stranger. This outcome is preventable. Have the hard conversations, sit down together, and figure out how to co-parent with structure, boundaries, and respect. This is not about being friends. This is about being intentional. It's about maturity. It's about putting them egos to the side and building stability for your child. Don't let hurt make you greedy with access or control. Everything, every decision, every boundary, every conversation should come back to one principle. It's not about you. It's about the child. We're going to stay, you're going to heal, and you are going to show up. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I really appreciate you listening. Bye for now.